Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Curious Collective podcast, conversations designed for the conscious community to create an awareness around those holistic practices that are out there. So I encourage you all to tap into the wisdom and knowledge of our beautiful guests to heal, transform, and live as your true soulful self. I have with us today, and this is like a fangirl moment for me, the beautiful Amber Poole, who is the Chakra Diva. So welcome, Amber, to the Curious Collective.
Yay, thank you so much for having me.
So good to have you here. I have been following you on social media for a long time, and I just love the work that you do. So are you able to just introduce us to yourself and what it is that you do?
Absolutely. So my name is Amber Poole, and I do a lot of things. I'm known as the Chakra Diva because I work in the chakras. That's primary what I do. I look at people's chakras, I read them, but then you can go down rabbit holes, as I like to say, and go really, really deep into the chakras. So I got into energy healing, and everything has gone from there. I always tell service, like to be of service wherever I can go. So I do services as in funerals and eulogies and naming ceremonies, wherever I'm needed. That's what we do for the day.
I love that. And do you work with your own chakras as well as like supporting other people's?
Yes, absolutely. So there was a time when I was so busy with work that I kept just taking on everybody's processes, and I was getting depleted, and I would stay in bed, and the whole next day I would be drained. And then I realized you have to practice what you preach. So I started to double up when clearing out my chakras in the morning and before I go to bed. So I always tell my clients, it doesn't matter if you are participating because energy flows. So just put on a YouTube meditation, allow it to go, close your eyes, fall asleep, whatever it is, because the energy will do the work.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually really deeply resonate with that. For those, most of our listeners will know what chakras are, but I would just love if you can describe in your words to those that may sort of only have a basic gist what chakras are.
Absolutely. So I work with 8 of them. There's an Earth Star chakra that is located below your feet. They're portals, really, that's what it is. And inside this quote portal or energy, you can see the present. I can see imprints from when you were little. We can also go into past lives. And then future, right? Wherever your energy is at, the future projected would be in there as well. So a lot of times when you're looking at these chakras, you don't hold on to the happy moments. It's hard for me to have a person lay in front of me and find all of their happy moments. I usually see their trauma, their sadness, their resentment, everything that we hold on to. So it's my job to look through each one of these, there's 8, and help to release, we call stagnant energy that has been sitting inside. And I find it interesting because everything hits your spiritual or energetic field first, before it actually manifests down into the mental, into the physical, and then, or emotional, and then into your physical. So if somebody comes to me and tells me that their knee hurts and I'm looking at their knee, I usually have an emotion. I can see an imprint of why that's happening or where it came from. Your body has tons of information. So depending upon which one of the 8 that we're in, it holds different information than all the others.
It absolutely blows my mind and completely fascinates me. And hence really the main reason, like I'm into chakras majorly. This was my gateway drug into this world, right? Is, people getting curious. I encourage just even listening to this, get curious about, why is it that my lower back's been hurting all this time? It isn't just a physical thing. Let's look further. Let's go to the roots of it. Let's look in the energy of the body.
Absolutely. And I've done over 5,000 sessions easily. I've done this for 10 years. And every time I have a session, I always say, I don't know anything, because it allows opportunity and the unknown to come in. So the minute that your ego starts to like take over, that you think of what it is or the reason why it is, spirit will come up and it'll be something else. And I'm like, oh, didn't see that coming.
I love that.
So always stay open.
Yeah, I love that. And someone once told me as well is just unlearn everything you thought you already knew, because there's still so much to know. Yeah, and I love that.
There's so much. When you go into session and something happens, you're kind of like, oh, didn't see that coming.
It's a nice surprise.
It's amazing. Yes.
Yeah. And I've watched you on your social media. You jump on and you do a live, and you have a piece of paper in front of you and you draw something out. What is it that you do when you're doing that sort of process on socials?
So I actually started that on myself years ago, and I would go through my own chakras by a gingerbread girl or boy, whoever I'm speaking with. And when I'm on social media, I call forth your spirit or your energy, and I visualize you physically as I'm going up. I receive impressions. So I feel things, I know things, I sense things. Not everything I want to disclose on social media. So I try to keep it like, that I'm connecting with you, but I'm not over connecting with you and calling your stuff out.
Yeah,
Right. That's
yeah,
for
that could
private
be awkward.
sessions. Yes. But I physically look through your body. So whatever, or not physically, but energetically. And then I can see the physical aspects, the emotional aspects, the mental aspects that come up, and I release them. And I love color therapy. I could see energy ever since I was little. So I would put my hand into these bag of pencils, like colored pencils, and I would grab one out intuitively. Whatever that color is, I know that person needs. And it's
wow.
it's an amazing alignment. Like maybe they need psychic work, or maybe they need healing, or maybe they need self-esteem. So all of my colors are designated towards each thing.
Oh, I love that. And so you haven't always been doing this. You said just then 10 years. Can you share with us like what got you to where you are today? And was there a pivotal point in your life that got
Oh
you
my goodness.
deeper into this work?
Sure. When I was, I know a lot of people find it cliche because, as a child, they say, oh, I had gifts and they were open. But I did. I could always see energy, but I didn't know what my gifts were. So one day, my mom and I are at church, and I'm looking at the pastor, and he has the most beautiful green color, like emanating from his heart. And I looked at my mom and I'm like, I've never seen that before in my life. And she's looking at me like I have 5 heads. What are you talking about? And I'm like, that color, look at that color. So she realized that I saw colors, and she says, I don't know what to do with you. So we went to our metaphysical store. She put me in tarot card reading. So here, we're learning how to flip over cards, and 40-year-old women are smoking outside. I'm like, why am I here? I didn't understand any of it. She got me the Ouija board. She's like, maybe this is what you need. So she was
what a
very
supportive mother.
Yes.
Wow.
But she didn't know how to support me,
Yeah.
right? Because back then things weren't all angels and all, it was very, like a set structure of what it was. And this is where you have to go into this role. And it never resonated with me. So I just stopped. And in 8th grade, one of the girls started making fun of me because I would say, oh, I see this, you're this angel around you, and this is what she's saying, and this, that, and the other. And she started to make fun of me. So then I realized, well, maybe I'm strange. Maybe there's something going on here. And she is now my client. So we always laugh about it because she came in and she goes, don't you remember me making fun of you? And now I come to you. So I'm like, she's so awesome. But then I closed down all of my gifts. And it wasn't until I was 22. I don't want to age myself. I'm 38. So when I was 22, I was just had my first child, and I completely blacked out. I was walking from one room to the other room. I blacked out, and I could hear a voice in my head. I can't see anything. My husband's yelling at me. Are you okay? Are you okay? And I said, am I dead? And I heard a voice say, no. And I said, am I going to be okay? And I heard a voice say, yes. And I said, very snotty. Well, that's all I need to know. Like, I was like, whatever. And I went to the ER, and they did MRIs, CT scans, and everything was fine. They sent me home with anxiety pills.
Oh gosh.
So for 3 weeks, I'm in bed, not feeling great. I have vertigo really bad. I start having out of body experiences. And I'm like, well, if I didn't die then, I'm going to die now because I'm floating above my house. Like, what is this? So I started to Google natural ways to get out of anxiety. And I came across an energy healer. And she said that she opened up her hand chakras and she felt energy. And I was like, well, she is weird. Like, what do you do after you feel this energy? So I sat there in front of the YouTube, opened up my hand chakras, and I felt energy. And I was just so amazed that I called my mom, and I'm like, can you lay down for me? I want to feel your energy. And as I was going up her, I could know I could hear imprints, feel things, know things that she's never shared with me before.
Yeah, wow.
So I end up becoming a traveling energy healer. And I would say, look, I don't have any clue what I am doing. Can I come to your house? I
Yeah.
hear that I make people feel better. So I went from location to location,
Just following what felt
yes,
right.
absolutely. Yes. And I
Oh,
didn't realize I was a medium, right? So even though I was like, oh, your grandfather's on the other side. Yes. Did he drive trains? Yes. He left you coins all the time. Yes. Huh, that's cool.
oh my goodness.
Keep going.
Oh, wow.
So
So
I was more interested.
just by doing what felt right and what felt good and offering service, you developed and strengthened these skills for yourself.
Yes. And I didn't know what it was called. So I kept Googling magic hands. It's like, what do you call this thing that you have with the power in your hands? It wasn't until years, probably 2000, I think it was 14, 15, I got introduced to Reiki. And then I went, what's that? What is
Yeah.
that? So I got to experiment on my own for a while.
Oh, how exciting. And what is your like, is there one sort of story or something that like from that time of self-experimental that just completely blew your mind? You know, like, what are these magic hands doing?
So, like I said at the beginning, you go down a rabbit hole because people come to you with all different things. And I always say, I don't want to know anything about you because it helps me if I have a blank slate.
Yeah.
And if I just start scanning you, and I'm going to let you know the things that happen. Sometimes people come to me, especially women, if they're trying to have a baby and they're trying to get pregnant. We always say we have magical hands that somehow everybody gets pregnant after they leave. And I find that remarkable, right? One girl I had, I was like, you're going to get pregnant, but it's going to take 2 years. And on to that day, she called me and she's like, you would not believe this.
Oh, goosies.
There's so many magical things, right? That's why I always say, be open to anything that happens because you never know what's going to happen.
Yes, I love that.
I have wanted to quit my job so many times too, because I'm like, what is this?
How exciting though. And it clearly you love what you do. Like it
Yes, I
just
do.
shines out of you. It emanates out of you. And you're on a radio station as well?
Yes. So I have the Chakra Diva show. It comes on Thursday nights and it airs in Australia. So I do know that. I teach classes online. Because of COVID, I had to shut down my studio. And that was, can we just say, devastating to me? Very much so, because I was pregnant, there was COVID, and I'm like, I can't do this. So I shut down my studio and I started to do online sessions, which you would think are different, but they're not really different, right? You can still read energy through the computer. In that time, I started taking classes 2017 for shamanism, and I became the student again. So it was really neat, and it still is neat because I always feel like I'm learning, right? You never
Always
stop
learning.
Yes. So I teach a lot online, and then I also learning from shamanism and my teachers in Peru at the same time. So I get to incorporate more into my work.
Yeah, tell me what you love about the shamanism and which part of it sort of deeply sits with you.
So I was never one to resonate with, and you would think this is crazy, but the full moon, just lost my ear. Full moons and cycles, and it just didn't resonate with me, right? Because I'm like, full moon, okay, get my crystals outside. So I would do it because I know to do it, not because I felt called to do it. And when I was stepping into shamanism, the first thing I learned was how to journey, and journey is different than meditation. Journey is you get to we play ping ball, right? I throw this ball back into the spirit and I'm like, hey, I need information about this. And then they have conversation with me, and you're kind of throwing this conversation back and forth. It's very lively and fun. And that's what I really enjoy about it. Whereas meditation, I feel like I'm just receiving. This isn't just receiving. I'm playing back and forth.
Yeah. That's
and then I start to
description.
The journey it is, right? And then I start to walk the sacred path, which is like the medicine wheel. And that's what I teach now, because you have 4 seasons, and every season we do something different. So we're in the east direction. I know it's different in Australia because I have friends who want to join and they're like, it's not the east.
Yeah.
You guys are on opposite sides than us. But we're starting to plant seeds, right? And we're starting to plant things for the year to come up.
Yeah.
Whereas you guys are letting go, releasing, and working on your body.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. All right. But each season brings different things that I get to work on the self. And it's not, it's not just I opened up my psychic abilities and I feel connected, because when my psychic abilities are open, I don't feel that connection that I've always wanted to have. And when I started walking this path, it's like, oh, the birds are speaking to me.
Yeah.
I have learning from, the eagle that just flew above me, and there's connection and everything deeply resonates. So for me, it brought connection where I didn't realize I needed connection.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I got full body goosies, and it's so true. Like, especially in the role that you're in, being of service to others and working at as you do, to feel that connection with that would just give you more.
Yes.
Deepen that, more potency, I guess.
It does. And I'm very connected to animals and trees, which sounds funny, but I can always hear a tree talk to me ever since I was little.
Yeah.
I have this one, I was going to work and a tree said, take a picture of me. And I thought, I am losing my mind. Did that tree just tell me to take a picture? So I looked at this tree and I'm like, I have to go to work. And I kept driving by and I was like, Amber, get your stuff together. Like, what is that? And I came by the next day and I was in a hurry. And I said, I'll take a picture of you tomorrow. The next day came, it rained. The next day came and they cut the tree down.
Oh my goodness.
I was devastated. So I got out of the car and I took a picture of a little stump. And I'm like, I am so, so sorry. But trees have life. They have spirit.
Yeah.
And I feel like at this moment, at this time that we're living in this age, connectivity is what it's about. In order to get to the next level, we're going to be talking to the spirits again, meaning plant spirits, animal spirits, and they're going to help us in our evolution.
Yes.
So it's really deepened who I am and how I can act as a healer in those ways.
Oh, thank you for describing it that way. I know I love birds. I hear them everywhere. I hear them if someone's sending me a voice message and there's birds in the background of their message. Like, absolutely love animals so much. So yeah. And there's a podcast a few episodes back where we've had the beautiful Romy Bueller on talking about how she communicates with animals. And we've got a few shamans coming up. So it's just beautiful that we've got all these amazing people on. So when you do trainings with people, what are you teaching them or what are you guiding them to be able to do for themselves?
So first, I kind of just skipped to the advanced. We have an advanced teaching coming up. I'm opening up my own store in my local town. So this time I get to go out with a full bang and have my own. I love crystals. So I work with crystals all the time.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to know how to work with crystals,
Yes.
Kids, adults, everybody. But we're doing advanced learning right now. And that's more of energetic cord cutting. That's entities and attachments. Because when I was doing this work, it wasn't taught, right? And then all of a sudden you have an experience where there's a deceased person that needs to be crossed over. And what do you do?
Yeah.
So I really wanted to teach that because I couldn't find that anywhere else. And every client that I had that was coming in, I always feel like everybody comes in for lessons for me.
Yeah.
not for them. So like all of a sudden I'll have 6 months of entities, right? And I'm like, okay, we got to cross you over. I'm going to get better at this. Da, 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 da. And then it might be, heart healing or it might be something else. But the class coming out focuses on chakras, crystals, energy cords. And that's not just pulling a cord out and saying, okay, it's released and done. Like, how do you go back up to the Akashic and make a new record for it? How do you amend it? So some of my stuff blends in ceremony because I found out how powerful ceremony is. Working with the fire transmutes things right away. So that's the easiest way to get things done. What crystals to use. So yeah, that's coming up.
Oh, how amazing. I love that. My three beautiful children love crystals. They've got heaps, but don't really know what to do with them or how to use them. They just got them there because they're pretty and they like them, and that it's a good start. But
Absolutely.
to be able to get them to understand how they can use them to support themselves as part of their toolkit, that's really valuable, adults and children alike.
And I don't think there's support in our area for that right now, for parents on how to teach their children. There's like this big gap, right? Because our age, we're kind of like, okay, new age, crystals are here. They're here to help us. And how do we now communicate that to our children?
Yeah.
So I used to sneak them in my kids' backpacks. They were in kindergarten, and I'd like put some in and send them off to school. Like, you guys are good. The older kids, clarity is really good. Fluorite, I would always give them fluorite, whatever they need. And it's almost like us as adults, whatever we need too. Like, what are we drawn to?
Yeah.
That's going to be the most powerful medicine to start with.
Yeah, I like that. My daughter was fishing around in my bra on Sunday, and I'm like, what are you doing? And she said, I need a crystal. I'm like, how do you know there's one in there? And she pulls out obsidian. And I'm like, there's always something in there, right? She just
there's always some kind of learning, right? So she pulled out obsidian. So what's she going to do with it? Does she sleep with it?
Yeah, it's actually under her pillow right now. Yeah. Yep. She needed it at that time. She was really heightened. So yeah.
There's also, I had a client the other day who came in, and she was so spiritual that she wasn't grounded. And I think we come across healers that forget that we're on the earth plane as well. Makes sense? Like they're just, everything is about spirit. Everything is about energy. And we always need to find this balance, because we live here for a reason. We're not a spirit yet. We have a physical meat suit, so we have to honor that, right?
Yeah.
So she would carry selenite in the back of her pants, like, you know what I mean? Like right down her pants. And I was like, your root chakra is so high vibrational that it's messing you up. You need something to ground, like physically ground. So swap out your crystals. Make sure that you're not using the same thing all the time, because you might need something else.
Yeah, that's great advice.
So she was just very high vibrational.
Yeah.
I need you here and grounded.
Come back into your body.
I was like, any black or red crystal you want, I want you to put that into your pocket. Okay. That's what you need.
Yeah. How beautiful. Thank you so much for all of your amazing knowledge. I know that there is so much more we could talk about. We could probably talk all day, but if people were wanting to dabble or get into what it is that you do or you teach, what advice would you have for them?
So I would start off with crystals. I always say that they're the gateway to everything in general. And you go for whatever color you want, right? Any color that resonates. Take note of what colors you don't like, because that's important, and what colors you're really drawn to. The ones that you're drawn to, you probably need them for a reason. The ones that you don't like, there's probably some shadow work or aspects of yourself that you have to look at, like, in order to make it come up to the surface, in order to use that. Not every crystal is for everybody. So you're constantly honoring your energy and your spirit around you. So that's what I love about this work, is that everybody's so unique, right? So even if I say how to open up your intuitive gifts, well, what are you going to do with them? Who do you want to be, right? And that was, for me, shamanism was the missing link for that.
Yeah.
That helped me connect. For you, it would be completely different, or it might be on the same path, but it's unique to you. So I always start off with the same basics. There's crystals out there. Maintain your energy field. A lot of it is send back to sender, return to sender.
Yeah, that's a good one. Can we talk a little bit into that? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times when I'm reading somebody and they say, it doesn't resonate. And all of a sudden I have all these imprints on them. And then they go, you know what? That sounds like my sister. My sister loves the cows. My sister has a farm. My sister, da, 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 da. That means that your sister energy is all over your aura, your energy field. So you actually have to return her energy back to her, and it'll make you feel better. It'll also make her feel better, because she's missing her energy. So that's why it's so important to clear out your chakras, like daily, because then you'll go, oh, you know what? why am I feeling sadness here? Where did that come from? Where's this
Yeah.
anger from? Is this mine or is this someone else's?
Oh, so valuable. I work a lot with veterans and their partners, so veterans with PTSD, and the couples sort of become a bit enmeshed. So a lot of the stuff that they're feeling, or the couple's feeling, isn't actually their own, and they're taking on lots of their partner's stuff. So then the partner's not able to process it. It's just it's just chaos.
Yes. And I feel like it's all, you see it a lot in the world, right? Just in general, that everybody has crisscross energy all across the board of telling people how to be, how to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, but if you pull that back and you return your energy to you and you allow them to understand their own processes, learn their processes of where they need to be, all of a sudden, everybody's supporting each other, right? But we're all leveling up. We're not like blaming or shifting or using or worrying or whatever it may be. You're concerned about you. And then you look at, okay, you know what? I feel really good about me. How can I be of service now?
Oh, so much wisdom there. We even do it with our children, right? The hugest, massivest realization I had about 6 months ago was, I'm not here to make my children happy. My job isn't to facilitate their happiness. My job is to hold space and, watch them shine in their brilliance and have their own happiness. And I think a lot of parents get in their kids' energy, and try and manipulate it, not intentionally, but, that happens too. And that what you've just said then just is so beautiful. So rewind if you need to re-listen to that part and think about your situation and perhaps where you might have this going on for you.
Yes, and everybody's different, right? Everybody has something that they came down here to learn, to understand. And usually this is why we pick each other, right? To support each other, to help each other, but not to take over.
Yeah.
Not to have control to the point where they're becoming powerless. We don't want that. We need them to be in their power, even in their mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? So they can learn from it, and then their own soul can have growth.
Yeah, there is no right or wrong. There just is.
Yes. Oh, high five.
Yeah, so good. Oh, I could talk to you honestly all day. Thank you so much for your time coming on the Curious Collective today. We will pop down into the comments some of your socials and links so people can jump onto your lives and see you in your brilliance and check out your courses if they're drawn to that. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners before we part ways?
Share. So if I could do any kind of pearls of wisdom, that's what I always like to call it, the pearls of wisdom, right? Because that always gets passed down to everybody. Honestly, just to be yourself, to shine as bright as you are. And it doesn't matter. I'm getting chill. What do you call them? The goosies?
Yeah.
Getting the chills. It doesn't matter which direction that is. If you are happy and you have joy, that is the right direction.
Oh, yes. Bring more joy into your life. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you, Amber. Beautiful soul. Thank you, listeners. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.